What if I told you that the only thing stopping you from success is your thinking? Right now, you might be limiting yourself without even knowing it.
I used to believe I was not good enough until I realized something that changed everything.
And today, we're going to show you exactly how to break those limits. Stay with us. This might change how you see your life.
Rise Stories Podcast.
Inspiring journeys towards success.
Welcome back to Rise Stories Podcast, the place where real stories inspire real change. I'm your host, Daniel, and today's episode is powerful because it's about one simple idea that can change your life, thinking beyond your limits. But before we begin, make sure you subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification bell so you never miss a story that can inspire your journey. Today, I'm joined by someone who truly lived this message. Our guest today is Michael Carter, an entrepreneur, speaker, and mindset coach. He started from nothing, faced rejection many times, and built a successful business from the ground up. Today, he helps thousands of people break their limits and think bigger about their future. Michael, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Daniel. I'm really happy to be here. And honestly, if you told me a few years ago that I would be sitting here, sharing my story, I would not believe you. Because back then, I was full of doubt. I didn't believe in myself. I thought success was for other people, not for me. But something changed, and that change started in my mind. Today, I want to share that journey with you. The struggles, the fear, and the moment I decided to think bigger.
That's exactly what we're here for. So let's start from the beginning. Michael, let me ask you the first question. Have you ever felt too small to dream big?
Yes, many times. I remember when I was younger, I always felt like I was not enough, not smart enough, not confident enough, not special like other people. I had dreams, but they felt very far away. And slowly, I started to believe that maybe those dreams were not for me.
That's something many people feel but don't talk about. What made you think that way?
It was a mix of things. My environment, the people around me, and also my own thoughts. Sometimes, people didn't say it directly, but you could feel it. Like, stay where you are, don't aim too high. And after hearing that many times, you start to believe it.
So it wasn't just your thoughts. It was also what you heard from others.
Exactly. And that's the dangerous part. Because those small ideas grow inside your mind. You start limiting yourself before even trying.
That's powerful, and I think many listeners can relate to that feeling. So Michael, let's go deeper. Where did your limits first begin?
If I'm honest, they started very early. I grew up in a normal environment, but there was not a lot of big thinking. People around me focused on safety, not growth. Get a stable job, don't take risks, don't fail.
So success was defined in a very safe way?
Exactly. No one talked about building something big or creating your own path. And at school, it was the same. If you were not the best student, you were made to feel average.
Did that affect how you saw yourself?
A lot. I'm not a leader. I'm not talented. I'm just normal. And when you repeat those thoughts every day, they become your reality.
That's very real. Many people don't realize how early beliefs can shape their future.
Yes, and the worst part is, you don't question them. This is just who I am.
Wow. So at that point, you were already living inside limits you didn't choose. Michael, let's move to something deep. Who told you, directly or indirectly, this is not for you?
I think it came from different places. Not always in a clear way, but you could feel it. Sometimes it was teachers. When I had ideas or dreams, they would say things like, be realistic, or focus on something safe.
So they didn't say no directly, but they limited your vision?
Exactly. And also, friends, when I talked about doing something big, they would laugh a little. Not in a bad way, but enough to make me doubt myself.
That kind of reaction can really affect confidence.
Yes, a lot, and sometimes even family. They just wanted to protect me. They would say, don't take risks, life is hard. So I started to believe that dreaming big was dangerous.
That's powerful, because many limits don't come from hate, but from fear.
Exactly. People don't always try to stop you, but their fears become your limits.
That's a strong realization. When did you realize that you were actually playing small?
I remember that moment very clearly. I was working a job that felt comfortable but empty. Every day was the same. No challenge, no growth, just routine.
From the outside, everything looked fine, right?
Yes, exactly. Good salary, stable life, everything safe. But inside, I felt something was wrong. Like I was capable of more, but I was not trying.
So it was more an internal feeling than an external problem?
Absolutely. And one day, I asked myself a very hard question. Is this the best I can do with my life? And the answer was no.
That's a powerful question.
Yes. And it was uncomfortable because I realized I was not limited by my situation. I was limiting myself.
That's a big shift.
Exactly. I understood that I was choosing comfort over growth, and that's when I knew something had to change.
Wow, that moment of honesty can change everything. Michael, let's talk about the moment that really changed everything. What was your turning point?
It happened during a very simple moment, but it hit me deeply. I was sitting alone one night watching a video about success and mindset, and the speaker said something I will never forget. You are not limited by your reality. You are limited by your thinking.
That's powerful. What did you feel when you heard that?
Honestly, it shocked me because for the first time, I stopped blaming the officials and started looking at myself. I realized that I was the one creating my limits.
That's not easy to accept.
Not at all. But at the same time, it gave me power because if I created those limits, that means I can change them.
So what did you do after that moment?
The next day, I did something different. I bought a book that people always talked about, The Magic of Thinking Big by David J. Schwartz, and that book changed my mindset completely.
What was the biggest idea you learned from it?
That belief is everything. If you believe small, you act small. If you believe big, you start taking bigger actions. It sounds simple, but it changes everything.
So that moment was not just motivation. It was a real shift in thinking.
Exactly. It was the first time I thought, maybe my life can be bigger than this.
That's the moment many people are waiting for. Michael, after that powerful shift, I'm sure something else showed up. Did fear try to stop you?
Oh yes, immediately. The moment I started thinking bigger, fear became louder.
What kind of fear?
Fear of failure, fear of judgment, and even fear of success. I started asking myself, what if I try and fail? What will people say? What if I'm not good enough?
That's very real. Many people stop at that stage.
Exactly. And the strange thing is, fear feels very logical. It tries to protect you. It tells you, stay safe, don't risk.
So how did you deal with it?
At first I didn't. I hesitated. I delayed. I overthought everything. But then I understood something important. Fear doesn't disappear before action, it disappears after action.
That's a strong point.
Yes. So I made a decision. I will act, even if I feel afraid. Not big actions at the beginning, just small steps.
So courage was not the absence of fear, but moving forward with it.
Exactly. And every small step reduced the fear a little more.
That's powerful. Michael, after facing all that fear, what was the first bold decision you took?
It may sound simple, but for me, it was huge. I decided to stop waiting and start doing.
What did that look like in real life?
I started working on a small project after my job. It was not perfect. I had no experience, but I told myself, I will learn by doing.
That's a big shift, from thinking to action.
Yes, and honestly, I was scared. I kept thinking, what if this fails? But I also had a new thought. What if this works?
That question can change everything.
Exactly. So instead of focusing on the risk, I focused on the opportunity. I gave myself permission to try.
And what happened after that first step?
Nothing big at first. No success. No big results. But something more important happened. I started believing in myself.
That's powerful.
Yes, because action builds confidence, not the other way around.
That's a lesson many people need to hear. Michael, after you took that bold step, how did your life start to change?
At first, the changes were small, but very important. I started to feel more confident in my daily decisions.
So the change was internal before external?
Exactly. Before, I would overthink everything. Now, I started to trust myself more.
And what about results?
Results came later. At the beginning, I made mistakes, many mistakes, but each mistake taught me something.
That's how growth happens.
Yes. Slowly, my project started to grow. I met new people, learned new skills, and found new opportunities.
That sounds like a chain reaction.
It really was. One small decision created another, and then another. And over time, my life completely changed.
That's inspiring.
But the most important change was my mindset. I stopped thinking small and started thinking, what's possible?
That's the real transformation. Michael, now I want to get practical. What habits helped you think bigger every day?
Great question. For me, it was not one big habit, but small daily actions.
Can you give us some examples?
First, I started controlling my thoughts. Every day, I would ask myself, am I thinking in a big way or a small way?
So awareness was the first step.
Yes, because most people don't notice their thinking patterns.
What else did you do?
I started setting clear goals, not vague goals like, I want to be successful, but specific goals with a clear direction.
That makes it more real and measurable.
Exactly. And I also practiced positive input.
What do you mean by that?
I changed what I consumed: books, podcasts, people, everything. I surrounded myself with ideas that encouraged growth.
That's powerful. Your environment shapes your mindset.
Yes. And one more thing. I took action every day, even small action, because thinking big without action is just dreaming.
That's a key message. Michael, your journey sounds inspiring, but I'm sure it wasn't perfect. What mistakes did you make while growing?
Oh, I made many mistakes, more than I can count. And honestly, that's a good thing.
Why do you say that?
Because mistakes mean you are trying. But my biggest mistake was waiting too long before starting.
That's something many people struggle with.
Yes. I waited for the perfect moment, perfect timing, perfect plan, perfect confidence, but that moment never comes.
So you were delaying your own growth?
Exactly. Another mistake was overthinking everything. I used to analyze too much instead of taking action.
That can be very limiting.
Yes. And sometimes I compared myself to others. I would look at successful people and feel behind.
That can really affect confidence.
It does. But I learned that comparison is not helpful because everyone has a different journey.
That's an important lesson.
Mistakes are not failures. They are lessons.
That's powerful. Michael, many people listening right now feel stuck. What would you tell them today?
First, I would tell them, you are not alone. Feeling stuck is very common.
That's reassuring.
Yes? And second, I would tell them to stop waiting for motivation. Motivation comes and goes. What you need is discipline and small action.
So action is the key.
Exactly. Start small. Do one thing today that moves you forward. Even if it's very small, it matters.
That makes it feel more achievable.
Yes. And I would also say, change your environment if needed. Sometimes, you are stuck because of the people or habits around you.
That's a strong point.
And finally, believe in yourself again. Even if you lost that belief, you can rebuild it.
That's powerful.
Because if you don't believe in yourself, no one else will do it for you.
That's a reality many people need to hear. Michael, let's make this very practical. How can anyone start thinking bigger, starting today?
Great question. First, change your self-talk. The way you speak to yourself is very important. Instead of saying, I can't, say, how can I?
So it's about shifting your questions.
Exactly. Second, set bigger goals, not unrealistic, but bigger than your comfort zone.
That forces you to grow.
Yes. Third, take action immediately. Don't wait. Start with one small step today.
Action builds momentum.
Exactly. And also, surround yourself with people who think bigger. Your environment shapes your mindset.
That's very important.
And finally, consume better information. Read books, listen to podcasts, learn from people who inspire you.
That creates a strong mindset foundation.
Yes, thinking big is not something you wait for. It's something you train every day.
That's a powerful way to put it. Michael, if you had to choose just one belief that changed your life forever, what would it be?
It would be this: my life can be bigger than my current situation.
That's powerful and simple.
Yes, before, I believed that my reality defined my future. Now I believe that my thinking defines my future.
That's a complete shift.
Exactly. And once I accepted that, everything changed. I stopped blaming, I stopped waiting, and I started creating my own path.
That belief gives responsibility, but also power.
Yes, and that's the key, because when you take responsibility, you take control.
That's a strong message.
And I want to say this to everyone listening: you don't need perfect conditions to start. You just need a new belief.
That's inspiring. Michael, we've reached the final part of this episode. What is your message to everyone listening right now?
If you remember only one thing from this episode, let it be this: your limits are not real. They are learned. And anything that is learned can be unlearned.
That's powerful.
You don't need to be perfect. You don't need to have everything ready. You just need to start. Start small, but think big.
That's a strong message.
And remember, the life you want is on the other side of fear. So don't wait for confidence. Build it through action.
Incredible.
And now, I have a question for you, the listener. What is one limit you will break after this episode?
That's a question worth thinking about. Thank you, Michael, for sharing your story and your insights with us today.
Thank you, Daniel. It was a pleasure.
And thank you to everyone listening to Rise Stories podcast. If this episode inspired you, don't forget to subscribe, like, and share it with someone who needs to hear this message. Until next time, keep rising.